You wake up with sand in your mouth, and the sun already working on you like it's got somewhere to be. For a second, your brain just stalls. No ceiling, no sheets, no phone buzzing on the nightstand, because there's no nightstand, and honestly, no phone. You pat your pockets out of pure muscle memory. Nothing. Your shoes are gone too, somehow, which feels like the smallest problem you're going to have today, and also somehow the one that bothers you most. You sit up. There's a river, a big one, cutting a green ribbon through a landscape that's otherwise the color of a manila folder. Mud brick houses along the bank. People in linen walking past like a half-naked stranger sitting in the dirt is Tuesday, which, for them, it is. Welcome to Egypt, roughly 1300 BCE, New Kingdom. You don't get a say in the season, the location, or how you got here. You just get dropped in, apparently able to understand what everyone's saying, and left to figure out the rest. Here's the part where you'd normally feel good about your odds. You know things these people don't. Germs. Mosquitoes. The fact that you probably shouldn't drink out of a river, that's a real advantage, genuinely. It's just a smaller one than you think, and it's about to get tested in an order you didn't choose. Round 1 is the sun. Obvious pick. Feels like the whole point of the exercise. No sunscreen, no water bottle, no hat, and the temperature is already doing something unpleasant to the back of your neck. Except, look around. Nobody else here is dying of the weather. There's a farmer 40 feet away who is not one bit worried about the sky. He knows exactly when to work and when to disappear into the shade for 3 hours, because his whole life, and about 100 generations before him, has been built around not fighting the sun and losing. You've been awake for 15 minutes and you're already acting like the desert has it out for you personally. So you do the smart thing. You copy him. Shade. Water when you find it. Calm down. Ancient Egypt, round 1. You win. Barely. Round 2 is the thing everyone forgets to be scared of. Now you're thirsty, and there's a river right there, which feels like the easiest problem you've had all day. You walk down, kneel at the edge, and, good, your modern brain finally earns its keep. You don't just put your face in it. You know better than that. What you might not know is that the danger doesn't need you to drink it. There's a parasite that's been riding along in this river for longer than the word ancient even means anything. Schistosomiasis. It lives part of its life in freshwater snails, and when it's ready, it doesn't wait for you to swallow it. It goes in through your skin. Just standing there is enough. Waiting in to cool off is enough. And this wasn't rare. A 2024 review of Egyptian mummies found signs of it in up to 65% of the bodies studied. Now, mummies aren't a census. That number doesn't mean 2/3 of everyone who ever lived here had it. But it does mean this was a real, everyday risk, not some freak thing you'd have to get unlucky to run into. So, you didn't drink the water. Congratulations. The water still might have gotten you anyway. But, and this matters, schisto doesn't work like movie poison. You don't wade in and drop dead on the riverbank. This is a slow burn, not a jump scare. You're still standing. You just might not be for free. Round 3 is the celebrity you've been dreading. Let's deal with the crocodile, because you've been thinking about it this whole time and it's earned the spotlight for a second. A full-grown Nile crocodile can end your entire trip in about 4 seconds, and it will not care that you're from the future. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care about your modern brain. Wrong 12 feet from the water at the wrong moment, and that's the whole video. Roll credits. But here's its one flaw, and it's a big one. It has to actually show up. Same deal with the cobras, the scorpions, the things Egyptian doctors wrote entire scrolls about because people really did get bitten and stung. All real. None of them are hunting you specifically. No encounter, no bite. Unless your very first move in ancient Egypt is to go introduce yourself to a crocodile with your bare hands. Please don't. This isn't your killer. It's just the scariest name on a list of things that mostly leave you alone if you leave them alone. By late afternoon, you've found people. A family takes you in, feeds you, doesn't ask too many questions about the accent. For the first time all day, you actually relax. And that's exactly when you step on a piece of broken pottery. It's nothing. A shallow cut on the sole of your foot, the kind of thing you'd rinse off, slap a bandage on, and forget about by dinner if this were literally any other day of your actual life. Here, you don't get to forget about it. Not because these people are clueless, that's actually the surprising part. Egyptian medicine was sharper than most people assume. There's a surviving document called the Edwin Smith Papyrus that reads less like folk magic and more like a field manual. Wound care, fracture setting, examination notes, even honest prognoses on what probably won't survive. Someone here can clean this, stitch it if it needs stitching, splint it if it comes to that. What nobody here has is antibiotics. If this small, boring cut gets infected, really infected, the kind that spreads, there's no pill for that, no IV. Just watching and cleaning and hoping the swelling stops on its own before it decides not to. A day or two later, the skin around it goes red and puffy. You know that's a bad sign, knowing it doesn't fix it. For a while, this cut looks like the front runner, not the crocodile. Not the river, a 3-centimeter scratch from a broken pot. Then the sun goes down, and for the first time all day the air actually feels kind. You sit outside, wrecked, listening to voices from the next house over and insects doing their evening thing in the dark. You made it through a whole day in ancient Egypt. You're almost proud of yourself. Then, bzzz, something lands on your arm. You should be paying way more attention to this than you paid to the crocodile. We have solid evidence that Falciparum malaria, the dangerous kind, existed here. That same 2024 review found signs of it in roughly 22% of the mummies studied. Again, not a population stat, just proof this thing was genuinely part of the world you're standing in. You get bitten, nothing happens. No fever, no drama, no clock starting that you can see. That's the whole trick with this one. It doesn't announce itself. The mosquito's already gone by the time you'd have any reason to think about it again. So, day 1, survived. The sun didn't get you. The crocodile never showed up. The river hasn't sent its bill yet. Even the cut hasn't finished deciding what it wants to do. On paper, that's a win, except nothing actually ended today. It just started. Push the clock forward, 2 days, 5, 10, and here's the part nobody tells you about time travel survival stories. The exciting threats fade into the background, and the boring ones start running the show. Day 2, the cut's either healing or it isn't, and you genuinely can't tell which yet. Day 5, maybe it's a fever, maybe it's the food, maybe it's something you can't even name because you've never had to name it before. You've just never been sick without a diagnosis on standby. Day 10, if that mosquito was carrying something, this is roughly when you'd start finding out. Somewhere in there, tuberculosis is also floating around. Egyptian remains show plenty of it, but TB plays a longer game than day 10. It's not trying to win this particular contest. The point is this. You can stand in the middle of ancient Egypt and correctly say out loud, I think this is an infection. The infection will not care. You can know, with total confidence, that malaria comes from mosquitoes, and that knowledge will not tell you which mosquito, and it will not hand you a course of antimalarials. Everything you know is good for avoiding trouble. Almost none of it is good for fixing trouble once it's already inside you. That gap between knowing what's wrong and being able to do anything about it is the whole ballgame, and it's not a gap you can think your way across. So what actually gets you first? Honestly, there's no clean answer, and anyone who hands you one is making it up. It depends on where you land, what season it is, who takes you in, what you eat, what water touches your skin, and a genuinely obscene amount of luck. But we can cross a few things off the list. No curse is coming for you. The Pharaoh has no idea you exist and never will. And crocodiles, cobras, scorpions, heat stroke, all real, all capable, all need either the wrong encounter or a genuinely bad decision on your part. Avoid both, and they mostly leave you alone. What's left, once you've got food and shelter and people looking out for you, is smaller and a lot less cinematic. An infection that won't quit. A stomach bug that won't quit either. A mosquito bite that turns into something worse 2 weeks later. Nothing with teeth. Nothing you'd see coming. That's the actual twist. You show up expecting Egypt to kill you with something dramatic. Jaws, venom, a scorpion in your sandal. Instead, if it gets you, it's probably a scratch you'd have ignored, a meal that tasted completely fine, or a bug you never even felt land. So if you do wake up in ancient Egypt tomorrow, find shade before you do anything else. Watch what the locals do and copy it. Don't improvise. Be paranoid about water and food, not crocodiles. Take every cut seriously, even the small ones. When it gets dark, actually listen for the buzzing, because the thing most likely to finally get you weighs about as much as a grain of rice. Ancient Egypt wasn't a death trap. People didn't just survive here, they built one of the longest-running civilizations humans have ever managed, on this exact stretch of river. You're not in danger because they were behind, you're in danger because they had something you skipped, a lifetime of knowing this specific place, a community that's got your back, and habits built by people who'd already made every mistake you're about to make. You know more about germs than any of them ever will. That's not going to be the thing that saves you.